Hello, everyone, teachers, students, school leaders, friends who are joining us today. Welcome to Artificial Intelligence in the News. As always, we begin with our land acknowledgement, something we hear regularly in schools, and we want to make sure when we're doing the land acknowledgement that we take time to honor the message. So take a moment to relax, to ground yourself, maybe put your feet on the floor, take a deep breath, and focus on the message. We acknowledge that we are being hosted on distinct and diverse traditional territories of the First Nations and Métis where we live. And I think we are on lands that are governed by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant. The idea is that we all can peacefully live together in sharing this one dish, this land, and all that it provides, so long as we each are mindful of only taking what we need. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit people. And then I think we believe that the land acknowledgement is a moment for learning. So I'm going to share with you something that I've learned about learning from Indigenous knowledge. So this is Goujois. His picture is there. He is an elder, a Haida elder, and an advocate for water and for the environment. Very concerned about conserving water, land for future generations. And what he tells us is that Indigenous people have lived on this land for thousands of years, and they really have deep knowledge about the ecosystems and how to take care of the land. They understand how to live in balance with nature. Excuse me. So it is essential, he says, that we listen to and learn from Indigenous peoples and their traditional ecological knowledge so we can do better when we take care of the land. I think that's a lovely message, not just doing the land acknowledgement, but thinking about how can we learn from Indigenous people about how to take care of the land. All right, let's dive into today's topic, why learn about artificial intelligence in the news. Ever since ChatGPT launched in November 2022, stories about artificial intelligence have been everywhere. It's almost every single day or every single week, there's something new about AI. A trend has emerged, something new has happened, a new tool has been released. And it's kind of mind-boggling the things that are happening with AI, but it's also important to keep up and continue to develop our critical thinking skills about AI and what is emerging in the news. And that's why we're diving into some interesting AI in the news stories today. So last year, when we had a speaker on, Tim King, he told us that a way for us to think about AI is that everything going forward is going to have an AI connection. And we need to think about our passions and interests and explore how AI is connected to those interests and those passions. So right away, I thought, everything is going to have an AI connection? Is that actually possible and true? So let's explore that a little bit by looking at some AI stories and topics and see, is there really a connection? We're going to test that idea. So the first idea that I tested was dogs and AI. What is the possible connection between dogs and artificial intelligence? How could there actually be one? So when I looked it up, I found two. One is that European pet food brands are actually developing AI-enabled vending machines for dogs that disinfect food samples for puppies who are curious and want to try something new. But this one's interesting, that somebody has developed an AI dog personality algorithm so that they can match the type of dog to your particular personality so that you're better matched when you get a pet. So there is a connection between AI and dogs. Okay. Then I thought, oh, let's try something like really unlikely, something mundane. Does it have an AI connection? Socks and AI. How could there possibly be a news story, a connection between socks and artificial intelligence? Well, there is. And this is a medical technology that's being developed. So picture socks that have sensors in them, And so they can sense when a person is distressed and send that information forward to someone else. Picture elderly people with dementia or people who aren't able to be verbal, to communicate verbally their feelings and their thoughts, and they're experiencing distress. And we might not recognize that they're feeling distressed, but the AI-enabled socks allows the person to communicate the message that they're feeling distressed because of how the AI is working. So there is a connection between AI and socks. So then I thought, okay, what is the most extreme thing I could think of where there couldn't possibly be a connection between AI and this item? And I came up with the idea of toilets. There is no way there could be a connection between artificial intelligence and toilets. I just couldn't imagine that there might be, but there are all kinds of connections. Everything from AI managing and cleaning public toilets to AI tech that is making the functioning of bathrooms better, medical technology with AI that when you go to the bathroom, it can diagnose maybe illness that you might have from what you release into the toilet, and even AI-powered robots cleaning the bathrooms for us so we don't have to clean them anymore. So this particular talk definitely has an AI connection, which really has left me wondering, what could you find that is a thing that you're interested in, and is there an AI connection to that? So I'm going to give your whole class a challenge right now. You and your partner, I want you to make a list of 5 things you think do not have an AI connection. And then at the beginning, you saw on the first slide that I asked your teacher to have open a search engine for AI. I want you to pick one of the items for the class that you have come up with and see if you can find a news story related to that. I know last year one of the students looked up potato chips and AI. So it might be a food, it might be a hobby that you have, it might be an interest that you have, a place that you've been to or are curious about. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to see if you can find an AI connection between something that you find interesting. And then your teacher can either pop it into the chat for the Zoom session, or email me with what you found, or pop what you find into the WhatsApp chat. So it's 9:27 now. We will come back at 9:37. All right. Sorry if I'm interrupting some great discussions. If you managed to just generate a list of things that you're going to look up later, or if you had a chance and you actually found something interesting, I invite your teacher to share what you found. If you send me a message, I always reply back to emails from teachers and their students. I love hearing from you. Or as I mentioned before, pop it into WhatsApp or the chat right here and just let me know what you found. And I encourage you to continue exploring your interests. All right, let's start to dive into some actual news stories. And I really, as we go through these news stories and we think of AI constantly changing and how deeply it's already integrated into our lives and the way it's going to continue to change our lives as we go forward, we need to pay attention to the news stories and what's happening with AI. We need to think critically about that. What does this development mean for us, for our community, for our friends, for our families? Is this what we want to be happening with AI? And then what are we going to do about it if we see things that either really excite us and that's amazing, or unsettle us and think, you know what? Is that the world I want to be living in with artificial intelligence? So lots of thinking needs to happen here as we go through the news stories. Some of you may have heard this story from last year. It had to do with Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor Swift has always been, since she was young, been a subject for people creating stories and images about her, and now we're in the AI era. But on January 24th, some users used AI to create inappropriate images of Taylor Swift at a football game. On X, formerly known as Twitter, these images spread like wildfire despite clearly violating the platform's policies, the rules that they had in place for how we're allowed to use X. And those AI generated pictures gained over 45 million views, along with hundreds of thousands of likes, bookmarks, and reposts. So people saw it, but they also made the decision to like it or bookmark it or share it out into their amplify the message. And I can only imagine what it would have been like to be Taylor Swift with this happening to her and how it would have felt for her, her friends, her family, the people in her community. And is this the kind of thing that we want happening with artificial intelligence? AI has responded in different ways to this particular story. So Copilot, when the Taylor Swift story broke, Copilot is from Microsoft. They have an image generating tool, and they very quickly decided to block our ability to generate pictures of Taylor Swift. So on the left-hand side, you can see when I tried in the spring to generate a picture of Taylor Swift, a little message would pop say, oops, try another prompt. Looks like there are some words that you're not allowed to search for or generate things. And I was just looking for a picture, to generate a picture of her, actually of her beads and kids at a concert. But so Microsoft, in response to the inappropriate images that were created of Taylor Swift, has just decided to block. And it's really interesting for you to explore the idea of power and privilege. Who can you generate pictures of? Who can't? Who's protected? Can you generate a picture of a president? Can you generate a picture of prime minister? Can you generate a picture of a teacher or a hockey player? So how is AI responding to these social issues that are coming up and the harmful ways some people are choosing to use AI, and what are they doing to their tools to protect us from that? When I got the blocked image, of course, I understood the news story was happening and why Microsoft would choose to block my ability to generate a picture. What's evolved with the tool, though, is that by the fall, they now give an explanation of why they're not allowing us to use their tool to generate pictures of famous people. And creating a picture of Taylor Swift would fall under the realm of copyrighted content. So her images are copyrighted, and so they have decided not to allow their tool to generate pictures of her. So when we're looking at news stories, we want to think about the news, the story, but also how the people who are creating AI are responding and making decisions about how their tools are going to operate. All right. Not all tools are like Microsoft. As the summer evolved and the US election took place. This was a story that hit in the fall. Donald Trump, who is now the president elect of the United States, in his campaign, some people had created fakes of Taylor Swift, implying that Swifties and Taylor Swift were going to vote for Donald Trump. And these were fakes. We may have heard the term deep fakes. This was not true. This was made up. But again, it was something about Taylor Swift that was, she gave no consent, no permission for these pictures to be created, yet they were created to influence voters in the election, and clearly were created in a tool that doesn't protect Taylor Swift in the way Copilot has chosen to protect Taylor Swift. The story became so big that, Taylor Swift had been very quiet during the election. Maybe she didn't want people to know, how she was going to be voting, but she felt compelled to now make a statement about it and indicate who she was, supporting in the election, and who she wasn't, and explaining why she felt compelled to come out and let people know, because these harmful pictures of her had been created in AI. So I think that Taylor Swift's story will be interesting and something I will continue to follow, because I think it's, as AI develops, I think these types of things are going to come back, and we're going to have to think about what laws, what policies, what rules, what do we want companies to be doing with these AI tools, so that all of us feel safe and protected and these harmful things can't happen. All right, I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes, and with your partner or in a small group, why do you think this new story about Taylor Swift is important for the larger community? Or why is this new story important for us as students and learners to think about and to understand? Just have a short conversation. I'll just give you maybe 3 minutes for that. All right, we're sorry once again if I'm interrupting your discussion, but we're going to continue on with some other news stories that I'm going to share with you. But please, I encourage you to really explore the ethics and consent in these stories that I'm sharing with you. All right, our next story is all about Willy Wonka. Just going to, this happened. Here we go. Here we go. It shifted a little bit. Um, so Willy Wonka was a story that happened last year. Once people had access to AI image generation, somebody decided to hold an event calling it a Willy Wonka event. Willy Wonka, of course, is from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where kids can get golden tickets to go through this wild candy factory. And so they created a Willy Wonka event. They sold tickets to it, and they had these pictures advertising the event. So on the left-hand side, you can see the wonderful world that people imagined that they were going to be seeing. And then on the right-hand side of the picture, you see what the event actually looked like. It was sold as an experience, but it was deeply, deeply disappointing. And people were livid. They were furious. Pictures from this went all over social media. People felt like they had been ripped off. So this was somebody who, chose to use the AI's ability to generate images in an unethical way, and there was fallout from that. And Alice is providing tech support for us. She'll be dropping the links to these news stories into the chat so teachers can access them if you want to explore them a little bit more. So I'll just ask Alice to drop that into the chat. All right, I'm going to move on to our next story. This has happened in the summer. So there was a filmmaker who used AI to write a script. So no actual writers were involved in the writing of this script. Instead, AI wrote the script, and then the filmmaker made a movie with this script. And it was supposed to have a debut in London at this Prince Charles cinema that you see in front of you. And the public, particularly artists, authors, people who make their living from the arts, were very, very angry and upset that this was going to happen. Again, the story went viral. There was lots of discussion about what does it mean if AI is now able to write things for us, and is this the kind of thing we want to be happening with AI? It was so controversial that the maker of the film decided not to show the film. It was shut down, so the public hasn't seen this particularly movie yet. But there's all kinds of discussion right now with the fact that AI can generate written text. What does this mean for people's creativity and their ability to make a living in fields where writing is central to it or creativity is central to it? So that might be a story you want to explore. And then and again, I'll ask Alice to drop the link into the chat for everyone as well. A robot artist. This story just came out this week. Again, it's from the UK, and an AI-enabled robot artist that can make artwork and explain the significance of their artwork had their first art show in London. Not a human, it is a robot. And the artworks has been sold, and one of the paintings sold for $1 million. There's a little video for you to watch where you can see the robot making the art. But we have two stories here about creativity, artificial intelligence doing things that humans would normally do, write a script, make art. Is this really art? Can you even call it that? I'm going to give you a chance for you and your partners to discuss that. What do you think of that? Just maybe 3 minutes to start your discussion. Why does this news story matter for the larger community? Why is this news story important for us as students and as learners? Why should we be paying attention to this? All right. Once again, sorry to disrupt your discussion, but I'm just conscious of the time here, but I'm sure you'll continue these discussions afterwards. Our next story is about AI influencers. I'm For those of you who don't know, but I imagine everybody must know by now, but there may be people who don't. An influencer, right, is somebody who creates content in social media to gain influence. They might earn their living, make money by being an influencer. But there's a lot of people involved in influencing. But now it is possible to create artificial influencers. And there are marketing companies that are creating artificial influencers. They look like real people. Their pictures look very, very real, but they're not human. They're just images. And I have lots of questions about that. I really don't know what to make of this. The fact that you can have an artificial influencer where content is being created, where they're trying to influence people to make decisions, where AI is in the background, where they're actually companies are making money off of this, which means the human influencer is no longer getting paid, is not needed anymore. And I really don't know what to make of it. So this particular influencer they're talking about here, Leila Kadra, is for the company Puma. They make shoes, right? Sports equipment. It's supposed to be a 21-year-old Moroccan marketing student who loves football, running, and surfing. And when on November 8th, when I clicked this article, this AI influencer, they're using the word she, but I don't even know if that's the right word to describe this AI agent already has 12,000 followers on Instagram, where pictures of her artificial life are being shared with people. So that whole area, when we think of deeply human and what it means to have AI present in our world, to me, this is a very, very fascinating story and something you want to pay attention to, but also think, make your own decisions for yourself. Is that an AI influencer an acceptable use of artificial intelligence? Do you want to be influenced in that way? Does it make a difference once you realize something isn't human that you thought was human? All right. Our next news story. This is all about deep fakes. And this story came out very early after ChatGPT exploded onto the scene and the image generation tools. It's a deep fake, right? So a deep fake is when you make a recording, a movie, a video, and it looks like the real person. And there's lots of uh, fraud going around right now about deep fakes, and deep fakes can be dangerous in different ways. From if you create a deep fake maybe of our prime minister and it looks like he's giving a certain message to the world, but it's completely not true. Deep fakes have the potential to cause a lot of harm. And in this case, a worker who worked in finance got a phone call from what he thought was the chief financial officer of the company. So picture a big corporation and it's the head of the company calling you, and it sounds like the real head of the company. And this head of the company is telling you to transfer $25 million into an account. And this was right at the beginning of when, we were beginning to develop awareness of deep fakes, or maybe people didn't really understand them, and the worker did it. He transferred $25 million into a fraudulent account, and then realized afterwards that this was a deep fake. It wasn't a real person, but this has direct consequences for him as an employee, as a worker, for the company losing $25 million, but also for the rest of us. And what can we trust now? Is what we're seeing real? We need to come with our critical lens to the images and videos and sounds that we're hearing now in cyberspace. All right. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a chance to talk about that, about the whole idea of deep fakes. Maybe share one thing you're thinking about with your partner as you listen to that story. All right, sorry to interrupt your conversations. I'll just give you a chance to refocus with our last news story for today. This one I also find really interesting. If you've interacted with any kind of AI or you saw some of the demos from Liren earlier on, or different people showing things that you can do in AI, we all notice how quickly AI can write things. And there are lots of people using ChatGPT, Copilot, other tools to quickly generate books. And then they're e-publishing them and they're uploading them to Amazon. And Amazon has been flooded with these books, often poorly written. They might have, we know that AI isn't accurate, so it generates misinformation, things that are incorrect, things that are wrong. So these are books written by AI, may or may not contain accurate information, rushed to publication, people uploading them onto Amazon and flooding Amazon with these books that are for sale, and making it hard also for authors, legitimate authors, to have their works paid attention to, because the AI books are being mixed in with the regular books. So earlier, right at the start of last year, Amazon had to make a decision. And their decision is that you are only allowed to publish 3 books a day onto Amazon. And if any of you are writers, if you'd made books in school and you know how much work it takes to make a book, that even that someone can upload 3 books a day, every single day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year, that to me is a little bit mind-boggling. And I'm wondering what Amazon is going to do, what other publishing companies are going to do going forward, now that so much, in many cases, poor quality publications are flooding the market with text and interfering with the high quality things that we're used to seeing on places like Amazon when we choose books. So again, it's a story about, human AI, creativity, writing, and what do we want from that. All right, so that's my last news story for today. I want to bring us back to our question in the challenge. How might AI augment the lives and possibilities for every student in our school? So think about these news stories. Think about the implications of some of the things that you've heard this morning. And now imagine both the positive and negative possibilities for people like you, your peers. Right? Are there things that you heard that can make learning better? Are there things that you are concerned about that, that's worse? And what do you want from AI? How do you want it to work so it's serving you well as a learner and serving our communities well? If you have a question about what I shared with you today, your teacher can pop it into WhatsApp or they can email me. And as I said, I reply to all emails. But with that, I'm going to send you off on your day. I want to thank everyone for being with us today. I want to encourage you to go back to our first part in this presentation. Think about your own interests, passions, hobbies, sports, and look for the AI connection there. There may be opportunity for you to further develop AI in relation to your interests. So look for those things as well. Continue to dig more deeply into your understanding of AI as you move through the challenge. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and success as you continue to work your way through the challenge. So with that, I will say goodbye. Thank you, Alice, for the tech support. Thank you to your teachers for bringing you here today and taking on the challenge. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Lovely. The stream has been ended. Thank you. That was very interesting to listen to.
Oh, good.